All right, it's 5 minutes after. I'm going to reel this
Okay.
in. I really appreciate
Okay.
the conversation. Go ahead and go on mute, Tish and Matt. I'm going to take over. This is our first call of 2023. Today is our faith call. As always, we're going to do some admin work. We're going to go ahead and get through the topic, and then we're going to end it with Q&A and then close out the day. So hopefully those of you that are joining are in a place that's safe. You're not driving, you're able to pay attention. But we're really excited to have you here. I'm your host, as always, Tim Bass. We also have Matt, our VP of Operations, and Tish, our VP of Finance on, as well as Deborah, our Director of Community on. So I'm really grateful that everybody that is on. I'm really excited for today. We kicked off public membership in January, 5 days ago, whatever it was. And so I've been looking forward to today, probably since September of last year, I think, when we decided to do this. So I'm just going to go ahead and get into it. So today's our faith call. One of the things that we talked about as a team that really we wanted to hammer home is on today's call is what faith really consists of here at Heroes. We've had a couple of knee-jerk responses from people when I say, we're going to be talking about faith. And the initial response was, oh, are you going to, Bible thump at me? You're going to preach at me? You're going to get up on the pulpit and tell me who to believe, what to believe, and how to believe? That's just not what we do here. We are focused on freedom. Heroes Veritas, as a general concept, is about sovereignty and freedom. And so if we were to take and step into a position and say, this is what we believe and you should believe it too, that would automatically place us at a disadvantage for our integrity. And we're just not about that. And so instead, we wanted to talk about, and we talked about this as a team. And so I have some notes that I'll be going back and forth just to make sure I stay on topic, because I have a tendency to rant, as anybody that knows me for more than 5 seconds knows. As a faith construct, faith is, in the religious sense, the ability to believe in something you can't see, a higher power, and hope that something's going to work out that you're not in control of. Now, by that definition, every one of us has faith that we have to align to. And whether that's faith in our fellow man, faith in ourself, faith in our family, we have to go off of this idea that what we want to happen will happen without any evidence. I created Heroes Veritas, and I brought Tish and Matt in, and then we brought Deborah and Gavin in, and a number of other people. And all of that was born on faith. All of that was born on the idea that we could create something that did not exist. And so faith as a pillar within Heroes Veritas is simply, how do we construct ourselves as a being that is capable of hope and faith of a future that nobody else can see but ourselves? And so in line with that pillar, what we talk about is confidence, self-respect, mindset, the ability to bring ourselves away from a sticking point, or away from degrading our abilities or our function, because maybe we don't see it yet, or maybe because there's people around us that don't see it and they want us to degrade ourselves. And so the faith pillar is where we kick off our discussions around, how do we get the mind right? How do we get the spirit right? How do we create persistence when we want to quit? How do we create confidence when we're nervous or scared? How do we create self-respect when we've been told that we're nothing? So when we talk about faith, it's faith in self. Now, the caveat to that is, we very much invite you to talk about, and I'm all blurry for some reason, I apologize. We invite you to talk about religion. We are firm believers in the freedom of religion. We're firm believers in freedom of speech. And so we very much want discussions to take place out of curiosity, out of a desire to learn, out of a desire to grow, as a desire to find our place in the world, in the universe. And so it's not so much that we don't believe in a religious construct. We're just not here to tell you what it is. Heroes Veritas very much believes that a religious or spiritual practice is a very personal journey, and we encourage you to take on that journey, but we're not going to be here to guide that journey for you. You won't have us up here quoting the Bible and telling you what you should and shouldn't do. You won't have anybody in our company telling you you should be ashamed of something because God said so. We've all been there. You want that, go to a church. We're not a church. We're a company that wants to see you grow and wants you step into your light and see you, step into your purpose, whatever that means for you. And so as you're connecting with the community and you're connecting with people inside the member portal, and you have questions, maybe there's a Hindu in here, maybe there's a Muslim in here, maybe there's a Christian in here, a Catholic, and you've just always been curious, and the only experience you had with that particular belief system has either been negative or you're just completely ignorant. Ask the question. Just be respectful. Don't tell people how to live. Don't preach to people. Don't try and convert people, but you're more than welcome to have a conversation out of curiosity and earnest. That's what we're about. We're about learning. We're about having hard conversations. And, there is a potential for people to get upset. There's a potential for people to feel that, in their disagreement, that it feels a bit, tight, because that's religion for us. It's personal. And so we hold it very near and dear to our hearts. And so if you start to feel that way and it's not intentional, and it's clear that it's not intentional, I challenge you to address that with yourself and find out, why is it that I can't have these disagreements? Why is it that I can't have these discussions openly without feeling challenged? Because I can guarantee you that if you do that, your personal relationship with your chosen deity or belief system is just going to get stronger. It's not going to get weaker, because you're going to challenge it. Because, I was raised Catholic Christian. My grandma was Irish Roman Catholic. And then when I turned 11, my uncle was, New Mexico, Texas cowboy. He was all Christian. And so that's my background, is I believe in God. I have my own connection with my personal God. And I don't talk about it a lot. Most of the people in our team have their own proclivities that are probably Christian or Catholic based. But I've never asked them to change or adopt any specific belief system. And I would do the same for our members. If you want to believe in, a spaghetti monster, I challenge you to do that. If that's what gets you out of the ruts that you're in, if that gets you moving towards a greater future, if that gets you to your sovereign place, then I'm not the guy to tell you not to. As long as it doesn't disrespect somebody else, it stops at your nose. You're not trying to convert people. You're not telling people they're, whatever, going to hell for being the way they are. This is a non-judgment space. Don't judge people. Don't be disrespectful, and we'll get along great. There's questions that'll come up in that process, and that's okay. Just be respectful. So I wanted to address that. That's really what faith is about. It's about raising ourselves out of the human mortal coil into something greater and grander than we've ever thought possible. And it's being able to do that, being able to see ourselves on a path that maybe is opaque at best, maybe very transparent, maybe we have a whisper of it on our hearts, but still feeling solid enough in that belief that we can move on it, and bring that idea into reality. And so that's generally what we talk about within the faith component. And so if you've noticed, if you've been active in the portal, if you've noticed, the portal has very much gone from, this is how you claim your power, to, this is how, and specifically talking about the faith pillar, we've talked about confidence. We've talked about, setting up the new year. We've got into discussions around, how to, stop excuses, how to start excuses, how to start, how to stop. I mean, that faith is such a broad place. It's where your mindset falls into. And there's so many soft constructs within that, that make faith so powerful, for us to then take ourselves to that next level. So, again, if you have any questions, concerns, fears, I know a lot of fears that I've had come across my bow have been, what if I say the wrong thing? As long as it's from a place of respect, it's from a place of earnest curiosity, there is no wrong thing. There really isn't. And I don't have to agree with you to make that a right thing. We can disagree, and I still have a healthy love and respect for that disagreement, because it's going to challenge others to audit that space. Part of being a personally sovereign individual, which is what Heroes wants, is courage. It's our core value. And it's the courage to be wrong. It's the courage to be right. It's the courage to be disagreed with. And faith gives us that opportunity. Faith gives us the ability to see things that others can't see and believe them when others don't believe. And that's a very powerful tool, especially if you're looking to live sovereign and you're looking to build a business, or you're looking to develop yourself into an entity that is completely free of judgment and contempt. So Again, returning to my notes because I feel like I've jumped onto my soapbox because I absolutely love the conversation of faith. Um, so jumping away from that construct and defining what faith is, part of that is what I want to talk about today is goal setting. We're in the new year. We're in the time of New Year's resolutions and wanting to change for the better, wanting to change something we don't align with, wanting to change into something we don't want. And so as we go into that new year, there's a lot of people who spent some time building goals, and not all goals are created equal. And so today we wanted to spend the call diving into how you how you develop a goal set that not only is constructive but is empowering and is something you can succeed at. And so I've prepared some lessons, and then and then some actions that we can take out of it. And so with that, I'm just going to jump into it. So goal setting is a skill. A lot of people think that they're all created equal. They're the same standard process. And there's the optimistic goal setter who is ignorant. They have no idea what they're getting into. So they set these lofty optimistic goals. And then there's the pessimistic goal setter who plays on the sure end of like, I can't dream bigger than 5 minutes from now because what if I fail, right? That's the pessimistic goal setter. And then there's the utilitarian goal setter. And that's what we want you guys to have in your back pocket, is the utility of a goal setting, something that's going to empower you. And so optimism is great, but it oftentimes makes people unrealistic, especially going into the new year. Pessimism is terrible. It will always disempower you. So if you do lean towards pessimism, I would challenge you to reach into the group and see about getting some tools from the team and from the group on how to look at things a little bit more optimistically, because you're hindering yourself, you're holding yourself back. But the utilitarian side is, how do you accomplish them, right? Like, how do I set a goal that by this time next year, I don't regret and I succeed at? And there's a lot of things that goes into that, a lot of psychology, a lot of pathology. One of the discussions we recently had was, do humans hibernate, right? Aaron and I had that conversation. It was a great conversation. I had to go and challenge myself in that audit, and I really appreciated that. And so born out of that, I went and I looked into this a little bit more and got that psychology side of it. And so as we go into the new year, maybe you have a goal set, maybe you don't have a goal set. But this is an opportunity for us to audit that, pivot accordingly, and make micro adjustments to that goal set so that this time next year, we're on a whole other plane, we're on a whole other level. So there's 3 main reasons why people's goal sets fail. So a lot of times knowing where you want to go is just as important as knowing what you don't want to know or what you don't want to do. And so the 3 main reasons people fail at hitting their goals. Number 1 is ambiguity. Most people leverage lofty goal sets that have no definable and discernible boundaries. Things like, I want to lose weight. I want to be rich. I want to be healthier. I want to communicate better. While these seemingly have an endpoint, they're not defined. And so there's no boundary of success. There's no success criteria within there. What is rich to you? What is communicating better to you? What is, what is enough weight that you've lost? What is enough fitness that you've attained for you to consider that a success? That ambiguity is exactly why most people get to February, March, June, and they're like, okay, I've made some progress, but I don't feel like I've made enough progress. And then they get discouraged and then they fall off. So ambiguity is the number 1 reason, one of the reasons, I shouldn't say the number 1 because there's a plethora and a myriad, but is a major reason why most people fall off their goal sets after the new year. The second reason most people fall off their goal sets is it's too broad. That's the optimistic, unrealistic side. I want to make $1 million in 2 months. It's like, great, push yourself. That's a great standard. And you hear this a lot in business spaces too. Shoot for the stars, you'll land, or shoot for the moon, you'll land among the stars, and all this stuff. And while it is good to push people to push themselves and to level up themselves. If it's not backed into attainable milestones, you're going to fail, because like, I'm the guy, I'm the optimist, I'm the forever optimist. My team knows I will show up to a meeting with 2 sticks and say, we're going to the moon. That's how I work. But then my team is there to go, yeah, but what about the steps? How much do we need? How much rocket fuel do we need? Are we building a rocket? What's the sticks for? And then I have to go back and say, okay, well, this is going to be a ladder, which we're going to build to then get to the top of the rocket to then go to the moon. And by that point, they're like, oh, okay, so we now have attainable milestones that we can push forward towards every day and make progress. So if you want to accomplish your goals, you have to create bite-sized pieces of a goal that you can move towards. Now, if you want to say, I want to make $1 million this year, okay, that's very broad. I'm not saying don't dream big. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm merely saying that if you're going to dream big, you have to have the ability and capacity to break it down into bite-sized pieces so that you can move towards that end goal in a constructive and progressive fashion. Just saying, I want to make $1 million this year sounds insane. But if you say, okay, I want to make $1 million a year, that's this many sales at this much money, that's this many per month, this many per week, this many per day. Now you have attainable milestones that you can break into. So that's the second reason most New Year's resolutions fail, is they're just too broad to be attainable. And the third is not a priority. Now, this is also coupled with, we're not honest with ourselves. Okay. A lot of times New Year's resolutions come from a social pressure. I need to do something, don't know what, but I need to do something at the new year to be better, to improve my life, to improve myself. So we sit down and we go, well, I could lose a few pounds. So then we make a goal. I'm going to lose weight. Again, going back to, it's too broad. We haven't defined any accomplishable goals. But 2, maybe we don't actually care about losing weight. We're just doing it because somebody said we should do it. So then you get in the gym and it hurts. And then the next day you're like, fuck, I'm sore. Why am I doing this again? If that conversation happens, it's not a priority. If that conversation happens, that means you've adopted something that maybe you don't actually understand, because it was something low-hanging that you can grab onto and you can work towards. So there's only 2 reasons people make change. And this is the pathology of change. Either the pain of staying the same becomes too great, so it forces an adaptation and a stimulus to change, or the prospect of the outcome is so amazing, they'd be stupid to stay still. Now, if it's not a priority, we can scratch number 2, because that automatically means you're going to lose sight of whatever that happy outcome is that you're looking forward to. You're just not going to know it, because you didn't know it in the first place. You didn't have the impetus behind it in the first place. So let's look at number 1. The pain of change becomes so great, you have to change, right? Not to overshare, but I recently heard a story of somebody who made a fitness change because they were literally on their deathbed. The pain of change was outweighed by the pain of staying the same. They were going to die if they kept on that path. Therefore, there was no other option. So not only did they crush their goal, they now have conversations where they're like, I don't know anybody that did it this way. I don't know anybody that's even capable of doing it this way. And that creates pride. That's a great story where the pain of change, of staying the same, outweighed the pain of change. And so it didn't matter if they were sore, it didn't matter if they were tired, it didn't matter if they wanted to work out or not. The alternative is you show up, you get better, or you die. That's a massive, massive incentive to get healthy. Not all of us are going to have that incentive, right? And unless the electricity is being turned off, making $1 million is probably not going to have a very massive incentive either, because most of us can get away with it. Most of us can do the things that we want to do without changing, right? We can stay complacent. We can sit in where we're at. We can get by. We've done it already. So those are the 3 main reasons people fail at their New Year's resolutions. They're ambiguous, Exactly. We can excuse our way out of it. They're ambiguous. They're not a priority, and they're not clearly defined, or they're too big. There's no milestones. So today we're going to talk about, how do you do that? How do you take away the ambiguity? How do you take away it being too big, break it down so that it's bite-sized? And how do you make sure that it's a priority for you? How do you manufacture a synthetic pain of staying the same? Because that's effectively what you have to do. If you want to change, you have to get it in your mind that staying the same is going to have an outcome that you don't want. Right? So we're going to start with number 2, because this is going to be where you pivot off of everything. Make it attainable. Right? Now, I'm going to use fitness, I'm going to use money as my examples, because almost everybody has a fitness or a wealth-based goal at New Year's. Almost everybody. We can always be richer, we can always be healthier, we can always be more fit, we can always be stronger, we can always have a better business. So most of us have that space. So from attainability, I mentioned earlier, I want to make $1 million in a year. Is it too broad for you? Is that attainable for you? The best way to figure that out is to extrapolate where you're at and where you got to go. From a money perspective, if I make $60,000 a year and I want to make $1 million a year, that means I have to make $940,000 more in that new year to hit $1 million. That's a pretty large number for most people, unless you're in a high ticket environment where you're selling houses and mansions and cars and you get commission and things like that. $940,000 is no drop in the bucket. Is it possible? Absolutely. You can definitely do it. Is it realistic? Going from 60,000 to 940,000? Depends. How much are you willing to change your life to make that happen? It's going to take sacrifice. If I want to make $940,000 more, that means I have to make more cold calls. I have to possibly be in another business. I have to learn a new skill. I have to develop myself. So how do you break down $940,000 extra? I'm going to do this on a calculator because I'm not a math whiz. Confidence coach, damn it. So give me a second while I pull up my calculator. So if I want $940,000 at the end of the year more, I already have 60,000. So say we put that in the bank. I have my daily. I'm getting 60,000 a year for my daily, as long as I keep that daily. Just keep that daily. So to get 940,000 more, we divide that by 12. That means every month I have to have an increase of $78,333, say $334. So $78,000 a month I have to make over my current income. Okay, well, if we divide that by, say, 4 weeks per month, you got to make $20,000 a week. You got to make $20,000 a week. Okay, that sounds like a lot. It can be. What are you doing to make that money? And this is where that conversation of what are we changing to make that money? I'm going to go get my contractor's license and build homes. I'm going to go get my real estate license so I can sell real estate. Am I building a product, making earrings, making, jewelry, making bags, making whatever, becoming a coach? What does that look like? Well, say I sell a $100 product. I got to make $20,000 a week. So if I divide that by $100, that means I have to sell about 200 items a week. That's a big push. That's a big push. If you're just starting, you have no audience, you have no support, you have no edification from the market. And so 200 items is very difficult. But what if we change that? What if instead we had a $5,000 product? Maybe we build a table, right? And we sell a table. Maybe I got some good woodworking skills. Okay, so I need $19,833 a month. If I divide that by a $5,000 table, I got to sell 40 tables a month. That's a lot of tables. You're going to be sitting there sanding a long time. Matt's shaking his head. He knows. It's a lot of tables. So if we have that information at our disposal, you see how we broke that down. We broke that down. Now we know, is $1 million, 940,000 over the 60,000 attainable for that 1 year? Probably not. Can that be discouraging? Not as discouraging as saying you're going to go make $1 million and then realize how fucking hard it is. That's a lot more discouraging. But what if we said, okay, instead of $60,000, my life would be absolutely different if I made $150,000 a year. Okay? If I made $150,000 a year, I'm already doing okay at 60,000. My house is paid for, my bills are paid, I got food in the fridge. I just want more free money. Free money meaning they're not being poured into my bills. I want to be able to take a vacation or whatever. Okay, so at the end of next year, I want to be making 150,000. Well, I'm already making 60,000. That's a $90,000 difference in 12 months. We divide that by 12, you got to make $7,500 a month. Go back to that. I sell tables. I make a $5,000 table. Well, now I got to make 1.5. You're not going to make a half a table. So maybe you make 3 tables and you sell them for $3,000 a piece. Could you make 3 tables in a month? Probably. You could probably make 3 tables in a month. If you get off work and you start working on the legs of all 3 tables, you just spend that week working on those legs. And then the next week, you just spend that week on those tops. And then on the last week, you put them together. And on the 4th week, you sell them all. That's 3 tables in a month. That's your system now. That's how you back into an extra 90,000 for that year. You now can build a system. So you have to break it down into what you can actually accomplish. Now, fast forward to the following year. You made the 150,000 because you had the system. And in that time, during that year, you're like, man, I did build 3, but I played a lot of video games. I watched a lot of TV. I hung out with a lot of my friends. If I just gave up 1 more day a week of recreation to build 1 more table that I'm selling for $3,000, and I do that every month. Now, instead of 3 tables, I'm selling 4 tables. That's $36,000 more a month just by adding that 1 table. Hold on. I heard something about punishing me. That's when you know you're making an impact, when they want to hurt you. So you add that 1 table and you gave up 1 day a week. So you gave up 4 days in that month and you just added $36,000 to your bottom line at the end of the next year. Now, this is how you back into a goal set and then how you pivot accordingly. Because if you stay consistent on that goal set, you set it in an attainable manner that you can back it down. You can break it down and say, okay, this is what I can do in this moment. This is where I want to go. If you stay consistent to what you can do in that moment, as you get there, you're going to find ways of improving. You're going to find ways of adjusting. You're going to find ways to find more time or find more actions and more development in that. And then the next year when you make that goal, you're like, well, fuck, I added $90,000 last year. Can I add another 90,000 this year? What would that look like? So instead of making 3 tables, if I want to go up another 90,000, I either have to make 9 tables, right, a month, or 6 tables a month instead of 3. Told you I'm not good with math. Or I still make 3 tables, but I built enough reputation with how good my tables are. Then instead of selling 3 tables at 3,000 a piece, I'm selling 3 tables at 6,000 a piece. Because they're custom handmade tables. They love my stuff. So now I'm making the same amount, but because I stayed consistent, I can sell it at a higher price. And that goes for everything, products, services, whatever. As you become more skilled, you find the efficiency in that, and then you can just back that in with new data. Now, part of this breaking it down is every quarter you should be adjusting. Every quarter you should be pivoting. Every quarter you should be taking the lessons learned over 3 months of consistent action and making adjustments. Using this example, you made 3 tables, okay? first 3 months you made 9 tables. But in actuality, that was the plan, but you got tired a few days. It's new to you. Your saw broke. Life happened. You were stressed out. You were burnt out. And in that 3 months, instead of making the 9 tables that you had slotted yourself for, you only made 7. Okay. So now you have a new baseline. If I want to stay up, I can't push myself to 9 because I burn out. So I got to stay at 7. You have a decision to make. Do you increase the price to make up for the lack of the other 2 at 3,000 spread across those other ones? Or do you take the hit and say, instead of hitting 90,000, if I take out that 2 tables a quarter, that means 24,000 off my 90,000. So I just added, upper limit problems, 100%. Do I just remove the, by the way, Aaron, just side note, that book is amazing. I'll put it in the member portal because I think everybody should read it. And I really appreciate Aaron recommending that book because it really does square away some of the upper limit issues that we have and we face. Me being the science nerd that I am, it goes into the pathology and the psychology of it. It's a fantastic book, and I really appreciate that you brought that to my attention, Aaron. So now you're at that quarter pivot point and you're like, I only hit 7 out of 9. So I could either be okay with just, revving down and saying, okay, I'll just make 7 from here on out. Or you can say, well, I also watched a lot of Netflix during that time. I could take a couple of those shows out and build that last couple tables. Or, I went drinking with my friends because I was feeling pretty good. Maybe I just don't do that as often, right? But these come from being honest with ourselves, which is number 3, right? Not a priority. What is your priority? How much of a priority is it for you to hit that 90,000 increase to your pay? Because if it means sacrificing the luxury of Netflix, video games, friends, drinking, hanging out, is the priority high enough to make that sacrifice? That's where the honesty comes in. You have to be honest with yourself. You're synthetically creating the pain of staying the same, right? And I said I would use finance and fitness. So let's talk about fitness. I want to lose 200 pounds in 2023. Well, if I weigh 200 pounds, is that really a realistic goal? Your bones weigh. You're not going to get rid of your bones, right? You're going to have weight. So saying I want to lose 200 pounds in 2023 is not really a realistic goal. Again, same thing with finance. Where are you right now? You weigh 200 pounds. You think you'd be better at 185? Okay, extrapolate those 15 pounds over the next year, right? I want to lose that 15 pounds over the next year. Divide by 12, that's about £1 a month, £1.25 a month. £1.25 a month is a lot more attainable than 15 pounds for a lot of people mentally, right? Like if I say to you, you're going to lose £1 a month, most people are like, only? They're upset that I told them £1 a month, but that's a big change. That means you're eating right, you're sleeping right, you're hitting the gym consistently. Maybe you got a trainer because you have no idea what the fuck you're doing in the gym. That was me. It's 300 pounds. I had no idea what I was doing. I went and got certified as a personal trainer just so that I can make sure that I did what I needed to do because I wanted to lose that weight. It was a priority. Now, granted, my pain and change when I was overweight was my knee gave out. I went to the doctor. He said, he was another Marine. So he was like, listen, Marine, you're just a fat ass and your body can't handle the weight of you. So your knee gave out. There's nothing wrong with your knee. You need to go to the gym. You have no muscle. All right. Well, I was at the gym that day. Mind you, I was in a wheelchair for 1.5 years. So my immediate response when my knee gave out was, here we go again. I thought I was back in the wheelchair. Hand to God. I thought I was in the wheelchair. I was like, no, that's not happening. He said, I can go to the gym. I'm going to the gym. I'm never giving up my legs again. Pain of staying the same was greater than the pain of change. I got into it. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I had to make pivots. 3 months in, I ran 10 miles a day at 300 pounds. I got down to like 165. I ate like 400 calories a day. Was I healthy? Absolutely not. Did I lose the weight? Yes, I did. Was I anemic? Yes, I was. Did I have any energy? Absolutely not. I had to audit. I looked myself in the mirror. I was like, dude, you need a sandwich. I didn't want to look like I needed a sandwich. I wanted to look like a superhero. So I had to audit. The audit is how you make them attainable. Realizing where you're at transposed against where you want to go. And then you fill in the gaps. Now, the priority part is if you're synthetically creating a change, meaning you could be okay not losing weight. You could be okay at $60,000 a year. Then when those things happen, as Aaron said earlier, when those things happen, you will excuse it away. Well, I know that I said I wasn't going to eat the chicken, or I was going to eat the chicken and rice today, but I did really good at my workout today, so I'm going to have cake instead. Well, then don't be upset in a week when you gain 5 pounds. Because when you should have had the chicken and rice, you said you did really good and you rewarded yourself before you got the outcome. Well, I already built 2 out of those 3 tables. I can relax today. You're rewarding yourself before you get the outcome. What is the pain of change for you? And a lot of people, they say it this way. What is your why? Fitness is a good one for me because the reality is if you're not healthy, you've got nothing. So if I'm a parent, right, I don't want to go to the gym because then I'm taking time away from my kids and I want to be there for my kids. Yeah, you want to be there for your kids? How about in 10 years? You want to see them get married? Or do you want to have a heart attack? Do you want to walk them down the aisle or some other dude if you're a guy and have a daughter? That sounds like a pretty big pain of staying the same to me. But most people extrapolate it against right now. I feel good right now. Yeah. What about tomorrow? What about when you got to help your kid move out of a toxic relationship and you're too overweight or too tired to help them? Fitness is the foundation for everything. Energy is born from the discipline of doing hard shit all the time. So that breathing is no longer difficult. That was the one thing I learned when I was 300 pounds. I didn't realize how hard it was to breathe till I wasn't 300 pounds. And I can't tell you how many times now I'll be working around in the garage. I'm rearranging shit. I'm just picking up a washer and walking it across the fucking garage. And I'm like, I couldn't imagine doing this the way I used to live. We don't extrapolate the reasons because we don't want to think about it. And here's why. The real pain of staying the same is having to admit that you're not where you think you should be. I'm going to repeat that. The real pain of change is having to admit you're not where you wish you should be or think you should be. If you feel a tug to be better, go be better. It doesn't matter if it's fitness. It doesn't matter if it's money. It doesn't matter if it's, people's perspective of you, your character. If you're not where you want to be, that's your pain of staying the same. Because everywhere you go, there you are. You can't run from your brain. You can't run from you. You're going to cross a mirror and go, what the fuck am I doing? It's inevitable. So take the steps now so that the next time you cross the mirror, you're like, there's that motherfucker right there. He's doing some shit. He's working. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm really proud about where I've come. That's how you create the priority. That's how you synthesize the change. You extrapolate it across what ifs. If I want to change, it's not about, I can sit here and watch Netflix. What happens if I don't change? What am I sacrificing by not changing? If I sit here and watch Netflix instead of building that table, I am sacrificing $90,000. I think all of us would agree that if somebody offered you $90,000 and you were like, nah, I got Netflix, people would think you're fucking out of your mind. That's what you're giving up. Being able to walk your child down the aisle, being able to be there for their prom, being able to help them move, be there for them when they need you the most. That's what you're giving up by not being healthy. That's what you're giving up. Extrapolate it across that. Not, it's Tuesday. I could, but it's not a big deal. You have to think short, medium, and long term if you want to hit your goals. You think too much short term, you won't change. You think not enough long term, you'll sell yourself short. The middle is where the real magic is. That's where your audits are, your medium term. Those are your audits. Because here's the deal, where you start, if you really consistently do stuff, is not where you're going to be at that audit. If I have never done anything in fitness, I haven't done a thing in fitness for 20 years, and I go to the gym for 5 minutes a day. I take a walk around my block every day for 3 months. You think my body's going to change? Probably. Will it be enough to get where I want to go? Probably not. So now I have to audit and pivot. That 5 minutes now has to become 20 minutes, or lifting weights, or eating right, or drinking more water, or sleeping better. The person that audits is not the person that made the initial goal. So you're going to have to pivot. So these two areas solve problem one. Ambiguity. If you can solve for attainability, and you can solve for your why, it will answer ambiguity. Because if you're ambiguous about your goals, you will never answer 2 and 3. But if you answer 2 and 3, you'll never struggle with answer 1 or problem 1. That's how you back into 2023. Synthesize why you need to make the change, extrapolate it across your deepest desires. Be honest with yourself. Then break down where you want to go against where you're currently at and create micro adjustments throughout and audit every 3 months. You want to hit your New Year's resolutions. You want to be on this call next year and be like, yo, I set this goal and I hit it out of the park. That's how you do it. No, 100%, Aaron. Your mental talk, the excuses you tell yourself, that they are, again, no matter where you are, where you go, there you are. If you're the one telling you it's impossible, if you're the one creating external systems to keep you stuck, you will be stuck. The biggest one I hear that drives me up a wall, this is, I'll tell you right now, it will spike my anger every time. I'm just a mom. I can't, I'm a mom. Do you understand how powerful a mother is? It is insane to me how many women think that being a mom is the perfect excuse. Can't work out, I'm a mom. I can't build a business, I'm a mom. I can't. Don't get me wrong, it's fucking hard. It's exhausting. But you've already accomplished all of that in that child. You brought life into the world. You created a miracle. Stop saying you're just a mom. Stop the negative self-talk. If it's not empowering you, stop using it. If it's disempowering you, if it's relinquishing your ability to exert your will on your world, stop using it. I have a thyroid. I don't have a thyroid. I'm big boned. I'm genetically predisposed to being fat. My parents were poor. I'll be poor. I didn't go to college. I grew up in the hood. I have almost all of those if I want them. I have trauma. I have triggers. I have drug addict parents. Yeah. How do you solve it? How do you empower yourself to realize that you're in control? Nobody has the pen in their hand but you. Write your fucking story. This is how you do it tactically, strategically. Build into it. Extrapolate your why. Because if you do use that mental talk of, I'm just a mom, I'm just a dad, I don't have time, blah, 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 blah. Cool. Then you don't want it. And that's okay. But be honest about it. Don't go around telling people you want it and not doing the work. Because eventually, they're just going to assume you don't want it. Because it's true. It's just wasting your energy, wasting your oxygen. You don't have to tell people. You don't want it. Nobody's going to ask. I don't know if you guys know this, but most people don't care. It's true. Even your closest friends, They want what you want. They want you to be happy. So if you don't want it and you don't bring it up, they're not going to be like, hey, you want to go, make millions of dollars? You should want to make millions of dollars. It's not how it works. You have to tell your friends, hey, I want to do this thing. And then your friends are like, fuck yeah, you could do that. Go do that. Here's a secret, added bonus. If they don't tell you that, you need new friends. If you go and tell your friends, I want to do this, and they go, not you, bro. Who do you think you are? Fucking cut them loose. You don't need them. There's a difference between protective inquiry and not believing in somebody. And this is one of those areas where people are like, I want support. You don't need support. What you want is you don't want to be turned down. They get conflated. You don't need support. You'll do it regardless, unless you have somebody there telling you in your ear, you're not capable. You're not good enough. You're not the one. You're not able. If you have that, get them the fuck out of your life. It's not worth it. You need to go places that you're celebrated, not tolerated. If you're in a space where you're just being tolerated and you're being told you're not good enough, you need a new space. Instantly, that's why I built Heroes. That's why we built Heroes, because we want that space to be heroes. So at this time, I'll step down off the teaching, open it up for questions. Aaron, you have been on fire with your feedback and input. That's been great. You just said, let your excuses be the exact reason why you're fucking make the changes. If you're just a mom, then fucking be a mom that follows her dreams. 100%. 100%. Yeah. In spite of being a mom, on top of being a mom.
Well, I was just saying, can you hear me?
I can.
I've been like cleaning the house and like while I'm listening and stuff, I'm going back and putting my input. So, I mean, you know me, I'm like the first person that like, I fucking hate excuses because I was like the queen of excuses. And I hate that too. I hate when like I have so many friends that are just like, oh, I can't do that. Oh, it must be nice because, oh, of course you can do that because you're X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, you could fucking do it too. Like,
it must be nice is my favorite.
Ugh, yeah.
And it's funny because you get frustrated because you remember how much you have to overcome to accomplish what you did and being there.
Yeah.
And so there's almost this like, if I could do it, fucking anybody could do it, because I've had to overcome so much to accomplish it.
Yep. 100%. This is a great call. Oh, sorry, I'm stuffing my face.
Gotta get the food in. Surprised Matt's not got a meal on. Awesome. Any other questions I can answer? It doesn't have to be about this topic either. If you have a question, ask it. We got
when you're setting a goal, sometimes it's hard, and it's like being hard is the excuse. Well, what you're doing is already hard. Go do something that's hard where you get a reward, because you already know how to do hard.
Yeah.
You already know how to do that. So go do something hard where there's a reward.
No, I agree 100%. Choose your hard, right?
Choose your hard.
That's been the thing, right? Being married's hard, being divorced is hard, being fat's hard, being fit is hard. Like everything is hard. It's just, what's your priority?
Oh, and you already know how to do hard.
Yeah.
You know how. So you can still.
You know what that kind of triggered something in my mind. Like, not only do you know how to do hard, you know where the hard that you've already chosen leads you, and you don't like it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be having the conversation. Because most people, they don't change because they're afraid, right? They're afraid of failure. They're afraid of the change. They're afraid, what if, people don't like me anymore? What if, insert whatever negative self-talk that you want. But you already know where the hard that you've been choosing has led you. And it becomes a very binary conversation, right? Like, do I like the hard that I've chosen? Yes or no? If the answer is no, then there's all the impetus to change that you need. Because you've already done the hard stuff that way and it didn't go anywhere. Jim Carrey tells this wonderful story about his dad, who would have been an amazing comedian, but he played it safe. And he got fired playing it safe. So you can fail doing something you love, and you can fail doing something you hate. You might as well fail doing something you love. You already know what hard leads you if you want to change it. Great call. Great inputs. Anything else before we close out? Got 5 minutes left.
No,
Also,
but thank you
Tim,
for this.
go ahead.
You're unmuted, Deborah, so you go, and then I'll open it up for Aaron.
Oh, okay. I'm also going to be posting on the site a goal setting worksheet and a class. So that's going to be posted soon.
Fantastic. That'll be a great accompaniment to this call.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Aaron. Floor is yours.
Oh, I was just saying I didn't have any questions, but thank you. This was a really good call.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really glad. This is what I enjoy. So like, yeah, building the app and the portal and all that stuff, that's all fun and good. But when I can feel like I can connect with you guys and add value, this is really what I built the portal for, is for me to, you know, create the community and have the conversations and share the things that, you know, our team believe is important. So before I forget, before we close out, I did realize just now that in my excitement to talk about this stuff, I completely skipped all the admin stuff. So for the admin stuff, just know we have the go live party tomorrow at 4:30 Pacific. So feel free to join us there. It's a webinar. If you have people that want to know what we're about, what we're trying to do, we're going to dive into the portal, do screen share. We're going to talk about what we're building. This is a great opportunity for us to invite people that we absolutely love and adore and want to have in our community, in our tribe, because that's what we're building as a tribe. So the kickoff party is really us to just show off what we've built. The way that I look at the virtual portal is that's our digital version of the ranch that we're going to be building. So if that helps kind of put a boundary or an idea of who you would want to be around there, who would you hang out with? Who would you want to be at the ranch with? Who would you want to invite to spend a week or day with or month with, doing stuff you love? And so that's kind of how I look at the kickoff party. It's completely free. We're going to go over, you know, the topics that I just mentioned, but at the end, we'll go ahead and do a giveaway. Erin's going to be our guest speaker, which I'm excited for. She's got her whole thing set up. She's going to add some great and amazing fire value for you guys. And then we'll end it up with closing with some giveaways. So if you guys have anybody in mind, I highly encourage you getting them to RSVP. We do have a maximum seat allowance, just a technical limitation. So RSVP as soon as they can. And then Sovereign Summit's coming up. So Sovereign Summit's in June. That is it'll be our last public one. Every Sovereign Summit from then on will be members only. So Sovereign Summit is a 3-day event where I bring out the team, myself, and we just pour into everybody that comes out to just fast track them to their growth, fast track them to the new version of themselves, and really see them get the most out of it. So that registration is open now. And so, that's exciting. So if you have anybody that wants to really take their life to the next level, I highly encourage them coming out to Sovereign Summit. It's basically all of our resources like poured into people in 3 days. So they literally get a full weekend of growth and expertise. Yeah, might as well bring it up since it was just thing. We're currently planning for California natives. Anybody's welcome, but we're going to do a Heroes meetup on the 21st of January. So that just got booked. Thanks to Aaron and Tish for setting that up. I really appreciate you guys taking the initiative on that and just wanting to have a space for all of us to connect physically. And that's it. I will see you all in the portal. We will get this recording live up, so anybody that missed it, you guys can share it with. I don't know if we'll make it portal only. I don't know how to do that yet, so keep you guys posted on that. But I really appreciate you guys taking the time and joining us today, and we'll get this into the portal as soon as I can get it loaded. All right, guys. Well, I will talk to you inside the portal. Have a great one. As always, stay dangerous. And I'm going to go ahead and sign off.
Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, everyone.